dears. My name is Joanna, and I welcome you to the Johanna Draconis, the Deconstruction of C-PTSD podcast. In this episode, we will talk about a quite somber topic, but it is very important to me. The topic of how we are just a few seconds away from death. And I don't mean in the normal way. I mean specifically because we suffer from PTSD. How we sometimes get for a brief moment the extreme strong desire to kill ourselves. And then it's all gone, as if it never happened. I wouldn't call it suicide, because suicide implies that you plan to die. This is completely different. It is more your body is forcing you to kill yourself, even if you don't want it. Since this is a very dangerous thing to occur, and seemingly sort of a taboo, as is suicide in general, so I thought it incredibly important to talk about it. I was waiting a bit for the right moment to talk about this, but there doesn't seem to be one. So now is as good a moment as ever. The behavior that I'm describing is usually only occurring if you have strong symptoms. Nonetheless, even if you don't have them, it might be wise to know about this. There's a good reason why, when I was in the worst of my PTSD, I stood far away from the train rails when I waited for my train, or why I stood away from the street while waiting for the signal to cross it. I think you have to witness it to really understand it, how fast it goes. You just sit there, everything is fine. Suddenly, out of nowhere, you have this extreme strong desire to kill yourself. Like it is overwhelming. Everything in your head demands that you do it. Refusing is causing insufferable pain. And suicide seems to be the only logical and reasonable thing to do. A few seconds later, it is as if nothing has happened. The thoughts are gone, as are any intentions of suicide. You might be standing there afterwards and thinking, what the hell just happened? Am I losing my mind? So let us break the silence and talk about it. There is sadly no official explanation why and how this is happening, as far as I know. These aren't the common suicide thoughts that slowly grow and take more and more shape in your head. I had no suicide intention before and after that. Pretty much far from it. I was also not in particular bad spot. It always seemed to be pretty random. It seems like the brain rolls, and if it hits the one, you get this. It seems logical that the more severe your case of PTSD is, the smaller the dice is. Especially if you are at your limits already and your resistance is low. As usually, and in the line of things. I am not sure how many seconds it is. I also don't know if it is longer or shorter if your PTSD is more or less severe. I was a bit busy in that moment to be able to count, and it never got less severe than I could. It just stopped happening at one point during my healing path. It definitely only happened when I was at the worst end of my PTSD journey. So it is one of the end stage symptoms, I would call it. It is also nothing like the random thoughts like, I could just jump now, that almost everyone experiences. It was like I was being mind controlled by something that tried to make me do it. There is really no curve to this. It hits you like a truck and then it is gone. Like nothing has happened. Almost like a malfunction of a machine. I really need more input from others to be able to tell more. Which leads us, of course, to the most important question. What can we do? Sadly, not all too much. Of course, getting better is the only way to truly get rid of them. But that may take a bit. So what do we do in the meantime? I would recommend doing what I did and avoid any situation where you could kill yourself within a few seconds. If you have more or less severe symptoms. That means, like I mentioned, standing more on the back if you wait for a train, the pedestrian light, etc. you should still be able to catch the train and cross the street. I would also recommend not driving, especially if you also have trouble sleeping, if you can avoid it. I know in some places that is not an option. Then at least I recommend trying to drive during low traffic times. And I know this is going to be a sensitive issue. Keep a weapon away from yourself that you can kill yourself within a few seconds. There is a good reason for the effectiveness and high suicide rate in America. Sadly, weapons are really effective in killing, even if the target is yourself. I'm not saying get rid of them or anything. Just be safe for a few seconds. And, of course, the most important one. Try not to push your boundaries and save energy. The more you push your boundaries, the more likely you are gliding into a worse category. Which makes, of course, this more likely to happen. Just try to stay safe and protect yourself. It can really happen so fast. I was thinking about what I could possibly say after such a topic, and I'm going to use a bit of a cop-out. The absolute changing landscape of Mother Nature. From horror movie to green. Very green. I am fascinated by this effect every year. It just seems to be happening overnight. The grey seems to be lasting forever, and then suddenly all is green and dandy. Or at least in my climate. Like from the bare branches to so much green, you ask yourself, where have they been hiding it? And flowers. Loads of them. And then there are, of course, the duck couples. There are several here on our small river. I really enjoy where I live. I like being close to nature like this. And it is really such a sight for sore eyes to have the colors back after so long grey, dark and brown. Also, do you like winter and summer? No worries. We on one day went from -2 degrees Celsius, that is 28 degrees Fahrenheit, to 23 degrees Celsius, that is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, in one day. The days before and after, we had similar temperature differences. This is crazy. Also, the sun is back. Slowly getting warm, but quite far from scorching yet. All in all, it is a nice spring. It is a shame we can't enjoy it as much as we would like at the moment. But we can enjoy it. That was it for today's episode. I hope you liked it, despite the rather somber topic. But I think it is important to be aware of something like this. Please be careful, and if you have any questions or feedback and the like, please let me know at contactme@johannatakonis.com. More information and transcripts you can find, as usually, under johannatakonis.com/podcast, and links are in the description. I hope to see you next time. Watch yourselves and have a wonderful time.